They may not have as many D1 players as they did last year, but they look pretty darn solid. Coach Streety and his staff do a real good job up there, and these kids know what it's like to compete at the third-round level, fourth-round level.
They certainly do. San Antonio Madison coming into a second straight showdown with Sharyland this year. Maybe not quite as good as last year, 8-3, but definitely a team to be reckoned with. But Sharyland showed they were a team to be reckoned with as well. They were down 17-7 when Lance Madden comes in and boom, Superman's in for the 18-yard touchdown, and Rattlers are just down 3 points, 17-14. But then, ouch, this is the big one. Yancey, the 44-yard interception run back for the touchdown, and Madison back up 24-14. Rattlers come back. Sharyland has an answer. Lance Madden again. This time 55 yards. Madison cannot stop this kid. He takes it in, and then again it's a 3-point game, 24-21. But then it's all about Cody Ennis. He has the big touchdown pass. He has the big touchdown run. The guy is just big, period. And Madison goes on to win it. 45-21 is your final score.
To the third round of the playoffs, I mean, they know what it's like, and I think the legacy that last year's seniors was continued by this year's seniors, and that's something that we're hoping that will help us set us up for another third round appearance, and not just appearing, but actually getting through. Our boys are getting closer.
It gives us more confidence knowing that we could hang with these guys up north, and just believe. That's the main thing.
There you have it. San Antonio Madison now goes on to take on Converse Judson. That game 7 o'clock Friday at Hero Stadium in San Antonio. But let's go straight to what Coach Adame was talking about and what Lance Madden was talking about, Joe, that this team hung with San Antonio Madison, and next year they look to not only make an appearance in the third round, but compete even more. Are they getting closer? Because it looks like they are.
They look a lot closer because of the fact that the swagger and confidence when they came onto the football field from play one. Usually the Valley teams in round 3 come out with all that energy and make a couple of big plays, but it was a different swagger, confidence, athleticism, and playmakers, and they got some coming back. It was a difference maker. They took on a team that's been playing against teams like that all season long. That's the problem. Madison plays that kind of football all year against that kind of competition all year. Sharyland played with them, but do they have that for 10 games? That's the problem. Where do you find that kind of competition? And we need everybody else to step up too.
Is that the difference there, Armando? They weren't able to stay with Lance Madden in that second half, the Madison defense, because there are too many playmakers to cover, right?
Absolutely. And, I was telling Joe that this wasn't a case of a Valley team being outclassed by a San Antonio team. This was, at this level, you make mistakes. Any team, it doesn't matter where you're from, what part of the state, you make mistakes at this level, the other team's going to make you pay. Sharyland showed they could hang with Madison. Kudos to them. They got it to 3 points twice, and unfortunately, you need those breaks, those ball bounces, and they didn't get them in the second half.
Sharyland last year finished 12-1 as well, but last year we weren't talking about them in the same glowing terms. We were talking about the fact that they were losing 2/3 of their roster, over 30 guys that were seniors last year, and yet 12-1 again this year. They look even better, and now we know some of the names that are coming back, Joe. Names like Sean Landez, names like Lance Madden. This team has guys coming back.
Playmakers are there. They're in place. Now, the names that we need to start talking about is who's going to step up on the offensive and defensive lines, because that's where the competition is going to be won or lost. The only reason Madden was able to get those big runs, the only reason Landez could get deep for balls is because of the fact that the guys in the trenches put in the work. And you got to realize you're going to go up against bigger guys and faster guys. That's a fact. It's going to happen. But can you outwork them in the weight room? That's something you can focus in on. If we can get those kind of names coming in to talk about, then I'm saying, yeah, we got another chance.
And despite the fact that Pioneer is opening up next year, we're not the split should not affect Sharyland for like 2 years, right, Armando?
That's right. I would think they would go with a JV schedule for a couple of years to kind of ease the blow and help Pioneer build something. But Joe's right. The playmakers, the skill position guys are back. That's not the problem. It's going to be the guys up front 7 on defense. How can they come in and keep this thing moving? Well,
Coach Ron Adame has now started off his career with 2 straight 12-1 seasons. That's pretty impressive. Is he the coach of the year? He gets my vote, but let's take a look at your ballot first, Armando. Who do you have as coach of the year when you look at it?
It's a tough pick for me. I threw out Kevin Brewer and what he did at Mac High. Just hearing about what he did behind the scenes and how much those kids respect him. That's impressive, and then Arturo Garcia comes in takes over a 1-9 Santa Rosa team and makes them district champions. So with virtually the same players. So he came in and did a great job. And then we talked about Michael Uribe at Mercedes, you know, and how he had to hold this team together and got them to the playoffs. So, you know, it's a tough pick for me. If you put me on the spot right now, I guess I'd go with Arturo Garcia, just because I saw that Santa Rosa team last year. I saw their only win last year, which is over La Feria. You know, to make them district champions, and that was impressive.
Joe, your ballot?
Well, again, I'm going to start there with Ron Adame with Mission Sherryland because of everything that was talked about last year. How much did you lose? Well, Sherryland had their run. They went 12-0, but that's it. They're done. And yet he goes 12-0 again, and then a couple of plays away from being able to go. Monty Stumbaugh, well, the target was on your back, and a lot of times coaches kind of get pushed aside in this Coach of the Year stuff because you got all this talent. But when the target's on your back and you run the table, okay, then Monty Stumbaugh there, a perfect regular season. Tom Chavez, Brownsville Rivera, who thought that not only they would compete in the playoffs, but win a playoff game, and that's coaching, folks, to bring that Rivera squad to that. And Mikey Uribe, you were thrown a dead set, hard wall to climb over to get through your football team, and yet he didn't take the woe is me approach. He didn't let his players take the woe is me approach. He looked at him and said, you're a good football team, and they made the playoffs. I go there.
Quickly, let's go through my ballot. I've also got Ron Adame, Sherryland, number 1, 24-2 is tough to argue with. Like you, Armando, I think Arturo Garcia's turnaround from 1-9 to 9-1 is incredible. Kevin Brewer brought McAllen their first district title since 1979. Carlos Longoria also from 1-9 back to the second round of the playoffs. Very impressive. We're going to talk about our MVPs when we come back, and we're also going to talk about Edinburgh North and how they performed against the Cibolo Steel Knights and what they've got coming back in Cougarland. It's all when we come back.